Hello, everyone. I have a couple quick announcements before we get started here today. First years and transfer students, please sit towards the front of the auditorium. Specifically, that would be rows D through M, and anyone who is not a first-year student or a transfer student, parents and family, please sit in rows N and back. Also, we would like to ask that everyone move towards the middle and fill in all seats so that we have space along the edges for any latecomers. First years, you have 4 years to get to know each other, so you may as well start now. Also, if everyone could please turn off cell phones or any noise-making devices at this time, we would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much, and enjoy the ceremony. Oh, a reminder for all newcomers, friends and family, please sit behind row N, and please squish together as much as possible so that there is room for everyone on the ends. Thank you very much. One final reminder, everyone, if we could have parents sit in rows N and back and have everyone move towards the center so there's room on the edges, that would be great. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Please join me in thanking Bethany Foster for opening our celebration with her wonderful organ prelude and processional. And please be seated. For those of you I have not yet had the opportunity to meet, I am Kathy Murray, and I have the great privilege of serving as Whitman College's 14th president. On behalf of Whitman's faculty, staff, continuing students, and governing boards, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to the 138th opening of the academic year. There are many important rituals that colleges like Whitman embrace. This convocation marks the beginning of your academic career, and it will be bookended by commencement 4 years from now. Today's rituals involve greetings, introductions, charges to the new students, reassurances to the parents, and lots of excitement about future possibilities. And there will be many similarities when we get to commencement. Before we turn to the specific greetings and introductions, I want to tell you a bit about the community you are joining today. We are students, faculty, and staff who come together in this very special place around a shared cause, advancing student learning. We do that work in all sorts of ways, each with our own special focus, but we do it together. We do it in community. And as other students return to campus, rejoining faculty and staff, you will learn that our community suffered a horrible loss this summer with the murder of Kyle Martz, our international student and scholar advisor. Now, most of you never had a chance to get to know Kyle, but as you come to know the Whitman community better and better, you will begin to understand the depth of our sense of loss and the many ways in which a community like this comes together to hold each other up, especially in difficult times. You are now members of this powerful community, and I ask you to join all of us in a moment of silence to remember Kyle. Thank you. Now, will the members of the incoming class, first year and transfer students, please rise. You are at the center of our work over these next few days and years. Your presence here today is a reflection of your high level of intellectual and artistic curiosity and the extra effort you have expended as you've begun to satisfy that curiosity, all of which resulted in impressive academic success during your high school years. We reviewed each of your files very carefully and are confident that you have the potential to be successful here. It's okay if you're a little nervous right now. Just know that we believe you have what it takes to be strong contributors to this scholarly community. Many people in this auditorium, most especially your parents and family members, worked very hard to make it possible for you to be here today. Please join all of us in showing your appreciation for their efforts. The rest of the people in this auditorium, the faculty and staff of Whitman, have been looking forward to your arrival and are anxious to get to know you and to work with you. We love the rhythm of the academic calendar and the energy and excitement that comes with late August. We applaud your arrival on the Whitman campus, and you may now be seated. Your most important resource over the course of the next 4 years will be your faculty, an extraordinary group of scholars and artists who are dedicated to your learning. Will the faculty of Whitman College please stand? Get to know this group of people. Don't just learn their names, don't just show up for class. Go to their offices, have conversations outside of class, invite them to have lunch with you and your friends. They will push you beyond what you have ever imagined you were capable of accomplishing, and they will provide the support to make it possible for you to achieve at that very high level. But you will have to put forth the effort. They will not do the work for you. They've dedicated their professional lives to student learning, and they want you to succeed. Please join me in applauding the work of this faculty. Please be seated. The other group critically important to your success over the course of these next years is the Whitman staff. Would the staff members present please stand? From taking care of our beautiful grounds and buildings, to preparing food for us, to helping you think about what internships and study away experiences will support your emerging passions, to make sure the budgets balance and the lights stay on, these people have dedicated their careers to student learning at this college. I'm joined on stage, please be seated, sorry. I'm joined on stage by several members of the Whitman community. Their names and titles are in the program. And I think you will find that most people at Whitman, including me, have an open door policy. My door is open unless I'm in a meeting, and I encourage you to stop in and say hi. I also hold open office hours for students several times each semester, so please stop by and let me know how things are going. Tell me what's going on around campus that excites you or concerns you, and get to know the campus leaders who are up here with me this afternoon. Now that we've all been introduced, there are just a few things I want to share with you as you begin your Whitman career. The first I borrow freely from a very important mentor in my life. I heard him give this sort of address to new students many times during the early years of my career, and I've never forgotten his main message. It came through almost as a mantra throughout the talk. Your business here is to learn. Your business here is to learn. You are extraordinarily bright and talented. You bring a wealth of diverse experiences to our community, and you are about to be challenged in ways that you have not yet imagined. Don't ever forget that your business here is to learn. You may be the first in your family to go to college, or both of your parents might be college professors, but all of you will face uncertainties and doubts during your career here. Seek out and get the support you need so you can stay focused on the fact that your business here is to learn. You are about to enjoy a level of freedom and personal choice that you probably have not experienced in your life. You will be faced with choices that could be life-altering. Don't forget that your business here is to learn. You come from different regions of the US and many different countries around the globe. Work to understand both what is different across geographic boundaries and what is universal, because your business here is to learn. You've arrived at Whitman with strong views about politics, religion, music, sports, and did I mention politics? You will be invited to express those views in productive and sometimes unproductive ways. If your views are not challenged during your time here, and if you don't learn how to meaningfully express your views, if we do not make you uncomfortable at times, we will have failed you, and you will have failed to remember that your business here is to learn. Colleges like to distinguish between a curriculum and a co-curriculum, but you have a single life at Whitman, and you will have opportunities to learn both within and beyond the classrooms. Take advantage of all of those opportunities, and always remember that your business here is to learn. Now, my mentor would have gone on at some length until the fact that your business here is to learn was permanently imprinted on your brain, but he was a college president for 25 years, and that longevity carries with it certain privileges. I'll simply encourage you to take advantage of everything this special place has to offer you in the next 4 years. And remember that your business here is to learn. Finally, I want to say just a few words about some particular challenges and opportunities that the year ahead will almost certainly bring, and that I hope we will embrace together as a community. A few years ago, during the summer of 2016, I sent a message to the entire Whitman community acknowledging what a difficult summer we were all experiencing, with too many horrific moments of tragic violence across our country and around the globe. And I could have sent the same message last summer and again this summer, and I fear that the compounding effect of multiple events over many months is taking its toll on all of us, adding to feelings of insecurity, exclusion, even fear. The challenges are clear, the opportunities perhaps less so, but I think there are opportunities ahead of us. I plan to take advantage of every opportunity available to me to remind our community about some of our core values that are not up for debate. Racism and bigotry, hatred and violence are antithetical to our values as a nation and as a Whitman community, and they will not be tolerated or ignored. Sexual assault and sexual harassment will not be tolerated or ignored. Now, as a community, we need to continue to develop our capacity for empathy, for the ability to understand, even to share the feelings of others, to experience life as if we were standing in someone else's shoes. We need to put the theoretical concept of empathy into action as we engage in what will almost certainly be difficult dialogues within and beyond this community. As a community, we value more speech, not less. We reject the silencing of others as antithetical to intellectual inquiry. We value dialogue, not monologue. Listening is as crucial a part of dialogue as talking, and we expect speakers to create ways for other people to speak. And we expect intellectually responsible speech. Assertions need to be supported with evidence, and other speakers' evidence needs to be considered. Those difficult dialogues will be even more productive if we remember to extend grace to each other. Grace is a concept that Kazi Joshua, our Vice President for Student Affairs, speaks about with great passion. He's deepened my understanding of what it means to maintain a generosity of spirit toward others, recognizing that we all make mistakes and allowing each other the opportunity to acknowledge and apologize for our mistakes without coming under attack and without shutting down the dialogue. As we find our voices and engage in difficult dialogues, I hope we will model empathy, grace, and respect. Now it's my pleasure to introduce to you the president of your Associated Students of Whitman College, Isaiah Banta. Born in San Diego, Isaiah grew up in Southern California in a small town called Anza. He's a senior majoring in computer science, and he loves being part of campus life. He attended the Whitman Summer Fly-In program for first-generation and/or working-class students, and was later a fly-in leader. He started the martial arts club here at Whitman, was a resident assistant in Lyman House, is a tour guide, and may even have given your tour, and he was later one of the admissions tour managers. In addition to being the ASWAC president, Isaiah is also one of the resident assistants in Anderson Hall. Please join me in welcoming Isaiah.
Welcome to Whitman, class of 2023. You're going to continue to hear a lot of names and introductions over the next couple of weeks, and you have your entire time here to learn them. So don't feel bad if you forget a couple at first. I was sitting where you are 3 years ago, and honestly, all that I remember is that I asked and then forgot the name of the girl sitting next to me 3 times throughout the span of this ceremony. As we enter Whitman, in our collective responsibility to use this place to learn, to grow, and to become, I implore you all to do 2 things: explore and listen. If nothing else, remember those 2 words: explore and listen. For me, the choice of coming to Whitman was easy. My aunt talked about how inclusive the community was here. It had an exciting new computer science program, its beautiful campus, and the fact it didn't have a martial arts club excited me to create one myself. It also happened to be the only school that accepted me. And I'm so glad it was. I can't imagine being anywhere else or calling any other campus home. The summer before my first year, I attended Whitman's summer fly-in program for first-generation and/or working-class students, where we were given an exercise to answer, what does college mean to you? I answered and wrote down on my 3x5 note card that it was an opportunity, a step that is necessary or at least helpful in achieving my goals. Partly due to how my working-class background influenced me, I viewed college as a very transactional process. Spend 4 years here, do work, pay money, get degree. I wasn't wrong per se, and if I would have navigated Whitman this way for 4 years, I'm confident the experience would have been a good one. But I hope you learned what I learned earlier than I did. That Whitman is not solely a place to receive a degree in exchange for the hard work that you will do. It's a microcosm of the larger world that it belongs to. Walla Walla, Washington, the Pacific Northwest, the United States, Earth. Other people use different words, like the Whitman bubble, or just the bubble. It's said to encourage you to pop that bubble, to escape and do things outside of the Whitman ecosystem. You'll even hear a variation of it in the moments leading up to your graduation, something I've already started hearing. Are you ready for the real world? However, I like the word microcosm because it reminds me of what we have here. A microcosm has all the same qualities, both wonderful and terrible, of the larger world it belongs to, just perhaps in varying degrees or ratios. A microcosm is influenced by politics, ideology, and art. A microcosm is not separate from the world it belongs to, but part of it. A microcosm does not exist in a vacuum. My point is that if you learn, or at least try, to navigate this smaller world, you will develop knowledge, skills, and relationships that directly apply to the world it is surrounded by. So take advantage of every opportunity that is available to you. Explore. Explore and learn all that you can. Explore the campus and its history. Explore your first-year section, new meaningful relationships, and the knowledge and kindness of your professors. Explore the town. Meet new people outside of Whitman and travel the countryside. Explore new interests, goals, and projects, not just for your first year, but your sophomore year, your junior year, and your senior year. Explore a party, a lazy afternoon, or a good long walk. Explore and risk while trying to embrace challenges. Mistakes are not the same as failure if you take them as an opportunity to grow. Here, you probably have the largest safety net of people who want to support you than you will at any other point in your life. When you graduate, no matter where you go, there will be a safety net, but it will not be nearly as extensive, intentional, or accessible as the one that you have here. Finally, while you explore, I also want to invite you all to dedicate time to listen. Because what good is constantly exploring if you don't take a moment to stop and appreciate what you have found? Whitman will move extremely quickly for you. Seriously. The moments between assignments will get shorter, while the list of things that you want to do and the people that you want to spend time with will get longer. It will be extremely hard to make time, but please take the time to listen. Listen to the people around you and the story behind their beliefs, especially if you disagree with them. No one believes that they act or think irrationally. Everyone has their motives, their beliefs, and their truths. You can disagree with them. You can even push back against them. But do listen to them too. Listen to the apologies of others when they have hurt you, and the pain that someone shares when they say that you have hurt them. Listen and commit to memory the names of the people who help you and who support you: family, peers, faculty, friends, staff, and administration. Listen for the names that are not spoken. All too often we forget the names of the people who do the work that we take for granted, the people who cook our food, clean our residence halls, and make our campus beautiful. Listen to and affirm your friends and their struggles. I don't remember all the people who have suggested ways of solving my problems, but I can tell you the names of the people who I know would listen to me and hear what I'm going through. And also, don't forget to listen to yourself and what you need, asking for help whenever you need it or whenever you feel that you would benefit from it. Listen and explore. Whitman is so much more than a transaction of time for diploma. It's the microcosm that is yours to explore, one that invites you to listen, and one that is now yours to call home. We are all here to support each other, to nurture each other, and to grow together. I hope you always feel comfortable reaching out to the people around you, the faculty who teach you, or me if you're desperate. Welcome to Whitman College.
Good afternoon. My name is Adam Miller, and I'm the Director of Admission here at Whitman, and I would like to add my welcome to the new students and their families. Class of 2023 and incoming transfer students, one of the best things about working in the admission office is that we are the first ones to get to know you. We read your essays, hosted you when you visited, and met with you in your hometowns. You were handpicked, and we are so glad that you have chosen to make Whitman your home. It is truly a privilege to present you to the Whitman community. First, let's look back to how you found Whitman. Our first recorded contact with a member of this incoming class came more than 5 years ago, in April 2014, when as a 7th grader, one of you visited campus and attended an information session. You're an ambitious group. So that's why we sent you 27,430 emails, and you visited our website nearly 100,000 times. Our coaches were in contact with some of you as early as the spring of 2016, and nearly half of you had a chance to attend a Whitman class or meet with a faculty member during your college search. So, let me say thank you. Thank you to the incoming students and your families for the time you invested into researching and visiting Whitman. And thank you to everyone here at Whitman who had a role in helping grow your connection to our community: the admission, financial aid, and communication staffs, our student tour guides, overnight hosts and interns, coaches, faculty, and staff from every office on campus, and so many more. Finding such a talented, diverse, and engaging group of students is absolutely a team effort, and we could not have done it without all of you. Class of 2023, transfer students. You stood out among nearly 5,000 applications that glowed on our laptop screens. Your humor brought light and warmth into a cold, snowy winter. Your poignant stories of overcoming hardships moved us to tears. Your motivation and academic prowess inspired us, and the breadth and depth of your accomplishments made us wonder where you found the time. Each of you has earned your place at Whitman, and we are honored to welcome you here. Numbers, of course, can never capture what truly makes you stand out, but here's a quick recap. You are comprised of 430 first years and 22 transfers. As a group, you averaged a high school grade point average of 3.7 and 29 of you managed a 4.0. You are, by some measures, the most diverse class in Whitman's history. 25% of you are students of color from here in the United States, and another 11% of you are international students. And 71 of you will be the first in your families to attend college. You come to us from 34 states and 24 countries. The West Coast has strong representation, with Washington, California, and Oregon accounting for nearly 60% of the incoming class. The next most represented states are Colorado, Minnesota, Texas, Illinois, and Idaho. It is our honor to welcome international students from, hold on here, Albania, Cambodia, China, Egypt, Germany, Guatemala, India, Japan, Jordan, Kenya, the Marshall Islands, Mexico, Mongolia, Nepal, the Netherlands, Pakistan, Peru, Serbia, Slovakia, South Africa, the United Kingdom, Vietnam, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. Traveling to Walla Walla is always an adventure, and for 90% of you, that involved a journey of at least 200 miles. But the prize for the longest journey goes to our student who traveled 10,141 miles from Johannesburg, South Africa. And we especially celebrate our 13 new students from right here in the Walla Walla Valley. In reviewing your accomplishments, or your applications this year, some of the remarkable accomplishments we noted included cycling across the United States in 57 days, serving as a translator for an adoption agency in China, founding a blog and podcast about the detrimental effect of overusing digital devices, organizing town hall forums addressing gun violence, and founding a nonprofit that provides school supplies for middle school students. That's just a small fraction of the amazing stories that you bring to our community. Now, while we celebrate your past accomplishments, we also look forward to who you will become in the next 4 years. I want you to know that you are here because we believe in you. We chose you because we saw something special, not just your academic excellence or extracurricular accolades, but more significantly, something unique in you. Your curiosity, your energy, your boldness, your kindness, creativity, and sense of adventure, your willingness to lead, to stand up against injustice, to shape your own path and contribute to those around you, to open up to new experiences and embrace new challenges. These are the special qualities that will help you thrive and enrich the Whitman community over the next 4 years. So to everyone here at Whitman, faculty, staff, current students, alumni, and friends, I proudly present the new transfer students and the class of 2023.
I'm very pleased to be able to introduce to you our faculty speaker for this ceremony. Albert Schuler is the Mina Schwabacher Professor of Mathematics. He received his bachelor's degree from Penn State University and his PhD from the University of Kentucky. He has taught at Whitman College since 1996. In addition to his teaching across the undergraduate mathematics curriculum, he also teaches classes in introductory computer programming and data structures. He has a long interest in the use of computation in the mathematics classroom and in the computational illustration of mathematical ideas. He has developed courses in robotics, don't forget the robotics, engineering, mathematics, and the Mathematics Senior Project, and also co-developed with Justin Lincoln in the art department a class about maker spaces and culture. Professor Schuler won the A.E. Lang Award for Distinguished Science Teaching at Whitman College in 2013. He has an impressive list of publications regarding his research in mathematics in both pure math and applied areas, such as How Vision Works, assuming that I have gotten the topic of, for example, electroretinogram B wave implicit time and B/A wave ratio as a function of intensity in central retinal vein occlusion right. He has also published on teaching in mathematics, which aligns nicely with his secondary education certificate he received as part of his undergraduate education. He has published a number of papers with Whitman student co-authors on topics ranging from the legislative redistricting problem to the philosophy of visual proofs. He has been active in professional organizations for mathematicians in a number of ways. Couldn't help myself there. But with a particular emphasis on open source materials and textbooks. He is also an important contributor to our campus, serving on the Whitman Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Council, helping to create the common syllabus for our first-year course encounters, and chairing the Watson Fellowship Selection Committee. Professor Schuler also contributes to the Walla Walla community in highly meaningful ways, including being a court-appointed special advocate volunteer for child welfare and dependency cases. He and his wife, Laura, have run the annual Walla Walla Valley Elementary Math Contest for many years with numerous, there I go again, participants. He won the Walla Walla Public Schools Art Regier Award for Volunteer of the Year in 2003. I am glad to know that Albert has an interest in robotics, as it would be very helpful for this campus if he could build an army of robotic Alberts. Given how ridiculously productive one Albert is, an army of Alberts would be very useful. So I encourage you to get on this, Albert. I'm very pleased to bring to the podium Professor Albert Schuler.
Thank you, Dean Tipton. Welcome, students, families, friends. As you can see in the program, I'm Albert Schuler. I've been at Whitman for a few years now, though most recently I've been on sabbatical and living in Sevilla, Spain. This gathering represents my first official event at Whitman since returning to Walla Walla a few weeks ago. While I didn't really envision my official return to Whitman starting here behind this podium, I'm honored to be here speaking with you this afternoon. So why am I up here? The folks you've heard so far represent different parts of the college community. They all want to share their perspectives about Whitman with you to help you get the most out of your time here. As a member of the faculty and staff here, I will try to represent my part of the community and to share my perspective on what you've all gotten yourselves into. As you may have noted, I'm a mathematician. As far as I know, I'm the first mathematician to give this particular address at Whitman. And before we celebrate this earth-shattering advancement for mathematics at Whitman College, let's ask ourselves, what is a mathematician? According to the Hungarian mathematician Alfred Renyi, quote, "A mathematician is a machine for turning coffee into theorems." Now, I've definitely been called worse, but since I don't drink coffee, this particular definition casts doubt on my credentials as a mathematician. That said, indeed, we may be putting the cart before the horse. Instead of asking what is a mathematician, maybe we should ask the question, what is mathematics? This is actually a really deep question, though in my experience, most people think they know the answer. Why do I say this? Well, whenever I'm at a social gathering or some other place and people learn that I'm a mathematician, I inevitably get one of two types of responses. The first class of responses goes something like, "Ugh, I'm no good at math," or "I can't do math," or "I hate math." Thanks. The second class of responses is, "I loved math in high school. It was my favorite subject." Great. In both of these cases, they're missing a big part of what mathematics is. In the first case, the "I can't do math" case, we all do math. We can't help it. We look for patterns and attempt to draw conclusions from patterns. We do this because, in general, our lives are chaotic and we need to make our lives easier and more predictable. In the second case, the "I loved math in high school" case, what most people think of math as math in high school, going to class, reading a section of a math book, doing the homework exercises, isn't really math at all, or at least not the largest part of mathematics. Instead, students are engaged in the study and application of patterns that other people, mathematicians, have figured out. Don't get me wrong, it can still be fun and challenging, but it's not really what a mathematician does. Okay, at this point you're like, why is he talking about what a mathematician is, the definition of math, the notions people carry around with them about math? Here's why. You're all about to enter one of the most vibrant and challenging intellectual environments you've ever experienced. And I want to remind you that you carry with you some preconceived notions and ideas that are sure to be challenged by the folks sitting in these rows, by the Whitman staff, by the students around you, and by the students in the classes that are above you, most of whom are not here right now. It's okay to have strongly held beliefs and values, but it's not okay to have unexamined, strongly held beliefs and values. Whitman will have accomplished its mission if it provides you the ability and the knowledge to reflect critically and habitually on your values and beliefs. At times, it's going to be fun to deconstruct and criticize and tear down big ideas. You'll see things in a way that never occurred to you before. You'll feel elevated and enlightened. And it's usually fun when the ideas in play are not near and dear to you. Sooner or later, however, the harsh glare of that criticism will land on something that is near and dear to you. When that time comes, it's incumbent upon you to defend your ideas with vigor and rigor. And at the same time, it's incumbent upon you to be open to opposing points of view and, if they are sound, to adapt. This will not be easy. Some of the conclusions will be uncomfortable and may change you in ways that you cannot imagine. Some may change you in ways that people who are important to you may not understand. I'm reminded of a story in W.E.B. Du Bois's book, The Souls of Black Folk, which you'll read in December with your Encounters class. In the story On the Coming of John, Du Bois introduces us to John, a young black man from a rural town in southern Georgia, in the wake of the Reconstruction era, say around 1890. At the beginning of the story, we learn that John's, quote, face made one forgive him much, that broad, good-natured smile in which lay no bit of art or artifice, but seemed just bubbling good nature and genuine satisfaction with the world. We also learn of John, quote, the white folk of Altamaha voted John a good boy, fine plow hand, good in the rice fields, handy everywhere, and always good-natured and respectful. Later, John goes away to school and is transformed by his experiences there. Upon his return to Altamaha, we find, quote, the people were distinctly bewildered. This silent, cold man, was this John? Where was his smile and his hearty hand grasp? Later, after a frustrating encounter with folks in his old church over his new progressive ideas, John walks away, alone, down to the sea, followed by his sister. Du Bois then shares a bit of their conversation with us. He writes, quote, long they stood together, peering over the gray, unresting water. John, she said, does it make everyone unhappy when they study and learn lots of things? He paused and he smiled and he said, I'm afraid it does. Quote, and John, are you glad you studied? Yes, came the answer, slowly but positively. She watched the flickering lights upon the sea and said thoughtfully, I wish I was unhappy. And putting both arms around his neck, I think I am a little, John. So if learning makes us unhappy, how do we cope? The answer can also be found in Du Bois's writing. At the end of this conversation, we read of John's sister, quote, putting both arms around his neck, about his neck. In the coming years, we will be challenged intellectually, and we will cope together with our arms around each other. As to this question, what is mathematics? Well, it's a trick question. That's a mathematician for you. Turns out there is no generally accepted definition of mathematics, but in having a conversation together about a nebulous term like mathematics, we learn a bit more about it, and that's why we're all here together instead of back home in front of a computer, reading and learning in isolation. Speaking of here, according to the Office of Institutional Research, only a bit more than 2% of college-going students choose to attend small private liberal arts schools like Whitman. As a first-generation college student, and in the complete absence of any real mentoring, I decided to go to Penn State University with 50,000 of my closest friends. My intention was to become a high school math teacher. In other words, for me, university was a subway train. I'd get on at the high school graduation stop and get off at the job stop. And in between, it would be dark and noisy. Along the way, however, things happened for me outside of university, including some important mentoring that led me to finish a PhD in mathematics and ultimately to find myself here at Whitman College. Though I learned a lot at my two huge state universities, a lot of the critical thinking and challenging ideas I've alluded to today have only come to me since arriving here at Whitman. So congratulations on coming here first instead of just hopping on the subway and taking it to the job stop. You're getting a jump on an important aspect of your personal development that many of your college-going peers will miss out on. In my time at Whitman, I've learned from these folks in the front row, on the stage, in the wings, students, members of the community. And I used to think that math could explain everything, and now I know that while it is fantastically useful, math actually explains very little of what matters most to us. I've come to this realization slowly through interactions with the folks in this room and folks no longer here. Since you all only have 4 years and I've had 23, maybe a few anecdotes from me now will help you get the most out of Whitman. For example, many years ago during the registration process that you're all going to go through tomorrow, I was randomly seated next to a new art professor, Justin Lincoln. Through that instance of sheer serendipity, we started a friendship. Over the years, he's helped me understand the role of art in my life. He helped me understand that we can all express ourselves in creative ways with the tools that we already have, even mathematically. In another incidence of serendipity at Whitman, the math department is housed in the humanities building, not in the science building. So daily I rub shoulders with folks ranging from the art history department to the religion department. Indeed, we share a hallway with the English department. My friend, English professor Chris Lees, has introduced me to many authors that I continue to read today, like Colson Whitehead, Thomas Pynchon, Charles Johnson, Octavia Butler. I've been honored to guest lecture in English professor Teresa Di Pasquale's class. I was part of a discussion of Neil Stevenson's fantastically mathematical novel, Anathem. English professor Sharon Alker helped me so much when I taught Encounters for the first time 2 years ago, from managing class discussions to tips on close reading. Honestly, I think in a parallel universe, I might be an English professor. And it's not just the English department. All the folks here on campus are in the process of explaining important aspects of the human condition. I've learned that most of those aspects are not really susceptible to mathematical analysis. I've also learned that this is probably a good thing. In other areas of campus, Kevin Kelly, David Sprunger, other folks in tech services, with their positive approach to problem solving, have taught me that it's not productive to list the reasons why something can't be done. Far better to try to figure out how to make things happen within the given constraints. My friend Emma Lopez, who works in the physical plant, taught me that we live in a community that is greater than just Whitman College. For example, she's shown me through her actions that when immigrants in the Walla Walla community are in distress, are threatened, are demeaned, we as members of that same community must support and defend and honor them for the important roles that they play in our community. So muchas gracias, Emma. Look around you. Every interaction you have here is a learning opportunity if you are in the habit of reflection and critical thought. As you are transformed by your time here at Whitman, here are a few final bits of unsolicited advice, which you've already heard from a few people up here. Practice empathy and humility. Extend grace and tolerance to those around you. Possibly in contrast to some of the earlier advice, don't do everything, but do something well. Like turn pages. And keep your arms around each other along the way. Thanks and welcome to Whitman College.
Thank you, Albert. For our musical interludes today, we have the pleasure of hearing 3 Scriabin preludes performed by pianist Matt Burley from the class of 2020, and the Saraband from Bach's Cello Suite No. 3 in C major, performed by Aaron Cunningham, also from the class of 2020. Matt. final ceremonial piece of this convocation is the official opening of the academic year. You explored many institutions before deciding Whitman would be your home for the next several years. Then you waited months for this day to arrive, and now you're here. Professor Schuler told you it's okay to have strongly held beliefs and values, but it's not okay to have unexamined, strongly held beliefs and values. You have a responsibility to defend your ideas with vigor and rigor, but you must be open to opposing points of view, and if they are sound, to adapt. Isaiah Banta invites you to explore and to listen. He believes that Whitman is a microcosm that is yours to explore, one that invites you to listen, and one that is now yours to call home. I suggest that you make time regularly to reflect on the personal narrative you are creating throughout these next years. Explore multiple paths in order to identify your passion. Seek out advice from different perspectives, faculty, staff, other students, alumni, family, friends, about how best to pursue that passion. Choose your major to support that passion and figure out what other courses will broaden your insights both within and beyond that passion. Recognize that your passion will likely take you in many different directions throughout your life. As an undergraduate, I knew my passion was the piano, but I came to realize over time that my focus would be on education. That passion for education has been at the center of every decision I've made about my career path, and it has taken me in some wonderful directions. I'm confident that you will have an equally compelling narrative to share if you take advantage of all the wonderful opportunities this place, this community has to offer. And now, with great pleasure, on this 30th day of August 2019, I declare Whitman College officially open for the 138th academic year. Thank you. Before we depart, I want to invite you to a reception outside on the Cordner lawn. Please join me there. And now please stand and remain at your seats for the faculty recessional.